Okay, can everyone see? Okay.
Looks great, Violet. Take it away.
Okay. So this is the sky this month for January of 2021. So here's a little bit about the moon. So the last quarter was January 6th, and then the new moon was January 13th. The first quarter was January 20th, and then the full moon is January 28th. And then here's just a little calendar so that you can kind of understand it better. Okay, so here's the sun. This picture was taken on January 10th. And yeah. And then the cycle 25 has begun. So this is like a graph of the sunspot progression. And so it's kind of going up and then, yeah. Okay, and then this was for 2020, and it's a picture of the sun every day showing like the sunspots, and you can see how the activity of the sun like picks up as you get towards the end of the year. And then there's a picture of the sun on January 10th, and there's not really any sunspots that day, but yeah. Okay, so then there's planets. Here's a map for 2021. And so Mercury will be most viewable at dawn, and then Venus at dusk. Mercury at dusk, and then Venus at dawn.
Do you see the symbols? Look at the symbols on the side. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Okay. And then at evening dusk on January 9th, 10th, and 11th, Jupiter and Saturn will still be close together after their December conjunction, and then Mercury is now coming into view. And then, yeah.
And now, Violet, Jupiter and Saturn are too close to the sun to see, but in a few weeks, perhaps the next presenter will tell us there'll be morning planets, but Mars is still really easy to see. And if we get some clearing, it could be, Mercury's hard to see, so keep an eye out for it. Just following the sun in the southwest for the rest of the week.
And then here's like viewing the planets, which is kind of out of date now since that was in the beginning of January. But yeah. Okay, so for the constellation of the month, I chose Taurus. So here's the map of where everything would be in the sky. And then there's another picture of it. And then this is like the image it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a bowl. I personally don't really see it, but.
Violet, would you back up one slide?
This one?
Yeah, that number 5 there, that is an open star cluster, the Pleiades, that's visible with the naked eye. That regular members have heard me say many times that I really love observing the sky with binoculars, especially on school nights, because I don't have time to set up my telescope on a school night, and especially in the winter in Western Oregon where you don't have that many clear nights. It takes me a long time to drag out my telescope and set it up, but it only takes me a few seconds to grab my binoculars. Item number 5 there, the Pleiades, is one of the all-time favorite of mine binocular objects. You might be able to see it tonight. Very beautiful. Thanks, Violet.
Okay, no problem. Oops, okay. So Taurus belongs to the zodiac family of constellations, along with Aries, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpius, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Pisces. And then, okay. Taurus contains 2 Messier objects and has 5 stars that may have planets in their orbits. The brightest star in the constellation is Aldebaran Alpha Tauri, which has an apparent magnitude of 0.85. Aldebaran is also the 13th brightest star in the sky. There are 2 meteor showers associated with the constellation, and yeah. Okay, so here's the star of the month. There's a picture of it. Aldebaran is an orange giant star in the constellation of Taurus. It marks the eye of the celestial bowl. With an apparent magnitude that varies from 0.75 to 0.95, it is the brightest star in Taurus and the 14th brightest star in the sky. It is usually slightly fainter than Altair in the constellation Aquila, but just outshines Antares, Spica, Pollux, and the luminaries of Scorpius, Virgo, and Gemini. Aldebaran lies at a distance of 65.3 light years from Earth and is in the same line of sight as the bright Hyades open cluster. The star hosts a giant exoplanet, Aldebaran b, whose existence was confirmed in 2015. Aldebaran has exhausted the hydrogen supply at its core, and as it evolved off the main sequence, it started to expand to its current size. Now it is on the red giant branch in the hydrogen shell burning phase. And the star has a mass of 1.16 solar masses and have grown to the size of 44.13 solar radii.
So that kind of ties into what Kathy taught us about. So 44 solar radii, so it's a lot bigger than the sun, but a little bit smaller, about half the size of Rigel, and maybe 1/20th or something, 1/25th the size of Betelgeuse. Cool.
Mm-hmm. And it has a surface temperature of 3,900 Kelvin, and it shines with a luminosity of 439 times that of the sun. And it's 44.13 times larger than the sun, with a diameter of about 61.4 million kilometers. And it was the brightest star in the sky for about 200,000 years, between the years of 420 and 210,000 BCE. And at its maximum, it was slightly brighter than Sirius today. It's one of the most studied stars in the sky, which I found was pretty interesting.
Violet, I did not know that Aldebaran was the brightest star in the sky in the past, and I immediately have a zillion questions about that. So thank you for teaching me something. Did you know that, Kathy? Yeah.
I did not know. That was new to me.
Cool. So we're going to have to follow up on that in a later meeting as to, first of all, why is it less bright, or did the other stars get brighter? And how do we know that? How do we know that? I want to know that, but we don't know that right now. So just keep going, Violet.
Okay. Its substantial record of observations and studies has led to it being used to calibrate the instruments of the Hubble Space Telescope. Okay, and then here's a little bit of astrophotography. So we've passed the other things, but there's the full moon on the 28th, and then on February 11th is the new moon. And then I think that's everything.
We can do another unmuted applause here for Violet's presentation. Very nice. And if anybody has any questions, this would be